In part two of how to get found on Google, I want to talk about images. So there are a few different things that we want to think about when we're optimizing our images for website, particularly for search. The first one is to actually rename the file itself of the image. So if you are downloading images from a stock site or uploading them from your phone, etc., they'll typically be called a bunch of numbers, image something, 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 bunch of numbers. That is not helpful for you to be able to find the image later, nor is it helpful for Google to know anything about what the image is. So instead of being called image 54682 2304 225, rename it something that makes sense. So it might be image of whatever it is that makes sense, that is relevant to SEO. The second thing that's important as far as image optimization is what's called an alt tag. So an alt tag is something that most people can't see. It's not visible on a website, but for people who are vision impaired, it's the thing that Google will read out to them when they're reading through the website. So it's important to, when you're doing the alt tag, to put something in that is not only SEO friendly, but also friendly to the humans who are actually having your website be read to them. So you can do both. So for instance, you might have a picture of a woman with a laptop and it's on a page about SEO, and you might say, woman looking at laptop excited because her SEO is working, for instance, something along those lines. The next thing about image optimization is the file size of the image. So again, if you upload something from your phone, usually it's quite large in file size. And if you're putting it on the website, most of that size is wasted because you're looking at it on a screen. And unless you've got Super HD, which most people don't, you're just using a lot of file size for not a lot of reason. So what you want to do is minimize the image size, physical size, how many pixels it is, to as little as makes sense for the size of image it's going to end up being. And then also change the file size and save it as a really nice, neat, small file size. So that means for most websites, pixel, it might need to be maybe, 1,000 pixels wide rather than, 3,000 pixels wide. So you're changing the size of the image. If you're uploading it to something like WordPress, WordPress will visually change the look of the image, but the image file is still the same. So using up a lot of people's data, particularly if they're on phone, which makes sites load slower, which is another ranking factor for Google. It also just isn't a good user experience for people having to wait for that image to download, and it's using up a lot of data on their phones. So we don't want to do that. And then also now we want to change it to a file type called WEBP, which is the new file type that is the newest image file, which is visible only on websites. That's a little bit more advanced, but it is best practice. So I highly recommend you do that, or at least change it to smush the images. There's lots of different plugins and stuff in WordPress that you can use to make the images smaller. I think that was about it. If we do those few things, so rename the image file type itself, do an alt tag that makes sense, change the image size and upload it as the correct file type, then you'll be golden. That is a lot of stuff for images. And then when people are searching for your thing, it comes up with an image search. As you probably know, AI will pull up a lot of image searches as well. So hopefully that was helpful. I will see you soon for part 3. Bye.